Coming up shortly. We're joined in the studio by Rose Washuka. She is the Chief of Staff, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. And Dr. Sam Muller, who is the CEO of the Hague Institute for Innovation of Law, Hill. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show. Welcome, Dr. Muller. You're from the Hague.
I'm from The Hague, but also from the world. Thank you.
A couple of years ago, someone from The Hague being in the studio would have been okay. Some big thing.
Question: who have they come from?
Yes. From The Hague.
Yes.
And they're here.
Yes.
And it's justice related. Whoa,
Yes, I remember that.
Let's do something. This, getting into the shop.
You're in the shop?
Yeah.
How many are you giving me? Are you feeling generous this morning? You're that guy?
Yeah, pass around.
So,
Chiti,
Yes.
give Dr. Muller this. He knows what kiwi is. I'm sure.
you know what kiwi is, don't you?
If he doesn't, he will know.
Let me tell you. So kiwi is a polish brand. In fact, when people would go to look for shoe polish, they would say, I'm going to buy kiwi. It was not, I'm going to buy shoe polish. So the name became synonymous with the need. So that was the thing. There was nothing else. And so it stepped into people's lives and it gives folks the opportunity to shine. So look good while you go to school. And then it became synonymous with children going to school and having their shoes polished properly. Now, Kiwi stepping up in a different way and saying, you know, we want you to look good, but we also want you to be well prepared. Because January comes with a lot of responsibility, especially when it comes to school fees. So Kiwi says, how about we make it a little bit easier? And we're going to ask you to walk into any place where the Kiwi is available in the new design, of course, with this new logo.
Yeah.
Make your purchase of whatever size, and then pick up your phone and dial *459 *5#. And when you pop the lid of the tin that you buy, underneath is a code. You're going to put that code as you dial that number, and you instantly win airtime or data. Interestingly enough as well, you get to enter into a draw. And 4 people every week are winning 35,000 shillings that goes directly to school fees. So you can show up with your kiwi, your shoes shined, and there's money in the bank so that you don't lose any school days. It's great.
Big thing.
It's big stuff,
Impressive.
isn't it?
You know kiwi, Dr. Muller, right?
Yes.
You've used kiwi.
I did.
Wow.
Yes.
See?
I know it. I know it. I know it.
It's a global brand.
Yep.
Now, to welcome you to the conversation, CT has the day's proverb, and this week's proverbs are from Namibia.
Yes. This week's proverbs are from the Republic of Namibia. Now, the interesting thing about this country, when you Google Namibia and you look at the stats, among the things that they list is the CJ. Most countries, you have a prime minister, you have the political arm of government, you have prime minister, minister, president, vice president. I haven't come across king yet, but you have all those. Now, this country actually has a CJ, Chief Justice, gentleman by the name of Peter Sifute. Then they have a deputy prime minister, a vice president, and a president. And they have 2 houses, an upper house and a lower house. But the significant thing about it, 31% of this country is actually desert. It's 1.4 times the size of Kenya, yet its population is half of the population of the city of Nairobi. It's very sparsely populated. As someone asked yesterday, shouldn't we move there? And I said, well, I'm sure there's lots of space in the desert. We can move there. Yes.
It's a beautiful country.
Yes, it is. The proverb for the day: envy and green grow from the same stalk.
Envy and green grow from the same stalk. Rose, what's your interpretation of this one?
It's the coexistence of the complexities that we live with as human beings, where from whence comes good can also come evil, and bad from whence comes positivity can also come negativity. So as we are saying in Staj, the glass is half full, not half empty.
Rose, are you a poet?
I love poetry.
You wax very lyrically.
We love poetry.
It's a good one. It's a good one, Rose.
Yeah.
Dr. Mula, what's your interpretation of it?
Yeah, it's a thinker. It's a thinker. This one. But I was also going kind of in that direction. I mean, the things are never in our lives today. I very often get a bit annoyed by the way things are made simple. They're either exceedingly good or exceedingly bad, and that applies to so many things. Politicians, political parties. We've just had elections in the Netherlands where the most crazy dichotomies were put forward by politicians in order to win or to lose. And in fact, life is so much more complex. And I think that's what this kind of reminds me of, that it is often a lot more difficult than we think. And our task is, in a way, to embrace the complexity and let it be and deal with that rather than try and make it simple.
Absolutely.
City. Mark this one.
If this were an exam and we're marking it out of just 10, you would get 11. And so would you. The beauty of being asked to give your opinion, one, you can't possibly be wrong. But the additional mark that you've gotten above 10 is because you've gone beyond just explaining it. You've contextualized it, and you've given it a few more legs to walk with. Now, when you give it wings to fly, then you might get 13 out of 10.
We will revisit at the end of
for the next exam. Our topic today is how Kenya is changing the face of justice through a people-centered approach. We know that there will be an address by the Chief Justice tomorrow. We'll be talking about that shortly. But first, let's get to understand this institute that you represent, HIL, the Hague Institute for Innovation of Law. Tell us about it. What is it?
We were created a little over 15 years ago as an institute to look into the justice gap, to look into the fact that access to justice in most countries in the world is far from being a reality, and to look at it with a bit of a different lens. We were seeing that a lot of the solutions to the access to justice gap were what I would call more business as usual. And I also observed that the justice gap in the world is probably one of the most invisible problems that we have today. So it's just a general global statistic is that we would see anywhere between half to 2/3 of the people in most countries in the world do not have adequate access to justice. And the ones that do get access to justice, generally we see that only about 1/3 get anywhere close near a resolution for what they want. And I always say, what if that was education? What if 2/3 of the children in the world would not get access to education, or 2/3 of the people would not get